Oh, well, it took me a few minutes to actually get in. I'm absolutely terrible with technology.
Yeah, well, I think I sent an email this morning thinking, I wonder if people will realise there's a whole new link instead of the same one.
Oh, I did try. I don't know what I tried, to be honest. It was awful.
Well, that's good anyway. We have someone else coming on, which is fantastic. So whereabouts are
Brilliant.
you, Natasha, in the world?
I'm in Bedfordshire, UK.
Okay, cool. It's been now, I think, a week today that I've left the UK, which was crazy. I was there 2 months, and it was getting cold then. So
Very
sure
miserable today.
yeah. Well, I think my parents are still in the UK, and I think they were going out tonight with someone, and they said it's just tipped it down where they are in Blackpool.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
North.
Yeah. Has been here.
Yeah. Okay. Pretty bad weather. Okay. Awesome. So, have you sent me an email? Have I spoken to you via email? I can't remember if I spoke to you or not.
Last week I was on the video call with you, and you were saying about anybody that comes in new. And is that what you're talking about? What we did last week?
Yeah. So last week we covered all new clients. Today we'll have a very much an open call. We'll talk about a few things, and then next week we'll talk about lost clients and how to stop clients from dragging it out. So that's our call today. So today's quite an open call, quite a mastermind. We'll just ask a few questions. I'll poke you a bit till I find out what things need help with, and hopefully I can help you. That's the plan. So we have David on the call as well. David, if you don't want to speak to me, you don't have to. You can do the chat box, and we can talk into the chat, and I can talk to you via there, which is cool. I'm just going to share my screen, and we'll see how we go. It's about 7 a.m. my time over here in New South Wales. We're going to have a pretty hot day, about 35 degrees. So I was up at 4 this morning. Yeah, so I'm going to close all the curtains soon and keep all the heat out if I can. Yeah, I'm still on UK time, so I'm waking up at 4 a.m., which is ridiculous. But at least I get the work done in the coolness of the day. So it's going to be a bit of scorcher today. It's not normally that hot this time of year, but it's nice to get a bit of sun, isn't it? Really. Which is quite nice.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So last week we covered half of keep in touch. So that's what we did in our first week. Next week we'll cover a bit of the second half of keep in touch. There are 9 other modules that we talk about and we coach. So we believe there's 9 things that new salon owners of today, when we say new, I don't mean a brand new business. We mean the new movement that's out there, need to try and master in their business. We have 3 that works on attraction. We have 3 that works on converting people because they're a lot less loyal. And then we have 3 that are on really on the client journey. How do we get the culture right? How do we deliver our remarkable result? So that's what we do. So we have lots of things we can help you with. So today on today's call, I guess what I want to ask you a question is quite simple. What's your focus right now? So while it's quiet, Natasha, you can speak to me openly if you want to. David, if you want to speak to me, you can. If not, hit the chat box. David, if you're on a phone, you can just swipe to the left and the chat box will be there. What's your focus right now, Natasha, your headspace around work?
I suppose bums on seats, getting people, there's lots of competition in my area, and being people attracted to my salon as opposed to anyone else.
Okay, cool. So do you want to talk about how to get bums on seats?
I've also got, I'll tell you, the bane of my life is I have a barber's shop, so it's very separate. I've got a separate, it's all in one building, but I've separated it off. So I've got hairdressers, barbers and beauty. And I seem to be able to, I won't say control, but seem to be able to motivate, I guess, the girls. And it's okay. The boys, it's a whole another thing. It really is. It's so different.
How many barbers do you have?
I have 2 at the moment and 1 just starting. And I think she's going to be my saviour in there because she's very bubbly, very upbeat. And one of them barbers is my son. I'm not going to lie. And it's difficult sometimes.
Hey, don't you start on that. My son was a barber as well, and he worked for me. I just paid him to surf most of the time, Anyway, it was, I had a staff walkout. Oh, I had 9 staff at the time and 8 left. And my son was the instigator. He was like, let's go to England and Europe and all come with us, have a big holiday. And they all went, yeah, let's go for a big holiday. So they all left. They all came back about 3 or 4 months later, but not the point.
No.
Yeah, your son. Yeah, probably like mine. Okay, yeah. So I can break this down quite simply. I might talk about culture and staff. So I might talk about that, what's in it for them, and I might talk about bums on seats. And if David, you want me to cover anything, any topics, you can let me know. So how many do you want to attract it to all three places, or just the salon in general when you talk about bums on seats?
Well, we could all be. I mean, the problem is, I'm just like you said. I've read your book. I've listened to a lot of your YouTube videos and everything, and I'm the crazy fool. I think I'm the busy fool.
Are you a ladies' hairdresser or beauty?
I do beauty and aesthetics.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I think that. How many staff do you have in total? How many staff do you have in beauty?
Well, there's just me and one other, but my daughter then, who's a hairdresser here, just sort of like floats between the two things.
Okay. Yeah, my daughter worked for me as well. Family affair.
Yeah.
How many women's hairdressers do you have, like a normal?
So there's Bobby, Katie, Chloe, Georgia. Yeah, there's 4 hairdressers, 3 barbers, a receptionist, and she does beauty with me as well. So there's sort of like 1 full-time beauty me and 2 part-times.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So a right mismatch, really. And I guess the question is how do you control all these people? It's very much like getting a bunch of cockroaches in a jar, give it a shake, and let it loose, and they just scatter.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, for every moment you've got your head down in a room, we need to make sure that the salon is systemized throughout. So what I might do, actually, I might deal with your problem first and then come back to bums on seats. How's that?
Okay.
And we'll see if you have time to get them both in. So let's talk about your problem with your barber. Tell me what's going on in there.
Well, there's once again lots of other barbers, and maybe the customer service isn't as good as. They're both in their 20s, early 20s. Customer service, mainly the haircuts are brilliant.
Yeah.
80% of the time, everybody has an off day, I guess, or the odd client that they can't, I suppose, hit the spot with a little bit. But generally, haircuts are good. Customer service, my son's getting there now. Suddenly the penny's dropped. But yeah, I think it's all to do with friendliness and customer service, and obviously making us an option for people to come into.
Yeah, and I think the problem we have, especially in the UK, I've noticed when I came over. So when I came over, let's say 3 years ago, there was the usual barber shops that were there. You were starting to get the Turkish had came, the Polish had came. So you've now got a lot of barbers that are good, like they're good quality. Let's not say, because they are good, and they work longer hours than us. You know, they'll work Saturdays, Sundays, and all hours through the night. So we have pretty bad competition. Now, the one thing we do know is that most people will buy from people they like. So we need to make sure that one thing we can beat them on is customer service. Now, I don't think you can beat most Indian people that I know, and the Polish people that I know are now opening barber shops. They're super friendly, super nice. So we can't beat them on niceness, you know, because they'll pamper you a little bit more. So we've got to make sure that the service we offer is different. And I think for a barber shop, that's we just have to start with something that's really important. So first of all, any issues that you have with your team, especially your son, when you talk to them, it has to be client focused.
Right. Okay.
So client focused, not not you, or salon focused, because they don't care. So let's just say, for example, which is the bane of my life, when you've done a gent's haircut, you have to sweep up between each person. Right?
Oh, I don't. Yeah.
Trust me. I mean, it's one of them things that I think it's the most. I mean, there's a really good barbers where I am, and he had it really down pat, and he was an appointment only, which made him different to everyone else. You couldn't get in for 6 weeks solid. He was just solidly booked. He had 5 people work there. And then once he got busy, he started getting too busy and didn't even clean the floor in between appointments. Now that's just, you know, I don't want to walk through. So, I mean, I don't wear shoes. So walking through people's hair to get there is just lazy. End of. So indirectly, I guess, when you, let's say that, talk about that problem, it's your station should, like, no one has ever sat there, like the loo roll in a hotel, and the corners need to be folded.
Yeah.
People need to know there's no one's ever sat there before, and that even if they see you, it has to be cleaned. Now, when you try and explain that to your team, if you talk about, it's messy or someone could slip, they don't care. But if you now come from the client's point of view, like, how would you like to go to a restaurant and actually sit there with someone's dirty plate next to you? You would think they're filthy. So you have to come from a client perspective with everything you take to your team, because they do care about their clients. They just don't care about you and your systems. So when we build systems in our coaching, we actually get the team to build it. So we have a special 5-step system, and we get the team to sit there and build the system themselves, because if they build it, they won't break it. So you've got to remember that if you're trying to build it, you're still working with a leader-follower method, which was probably 1979 when I started. But nowadays it's leader-leader. So indirectly, your barbershop people need to think they sort of are part ownership of the barbershop. To give them ownership, we need to make sure they don't have to have the profits, but they do have to make sure they have the say of how it gets run. So that's why they have to build it. So very important that they get to build that. So competition is like, you got to make sure that your barbershop is different to everyone else's. The one thing I noticed years ago, well, actually, I had my haircut in Coventry probably only 2 weeks ago, and they were charging 50 pence more for a fade. I don't understand. If you have a fade half, it's 50 pence. If you have a fade 0, it was £1. I just don't know how you can even do all that rubbish. Why bother? It's like charging, female hair. If you have more feathers put in, you want to charge more money for it. So for me, a one price really works fairly well. But I think you need to set yourself apart. Like, let's just say, for example, everyone gets it washed. Everyone gets a finish with a neck, razor. Like, whatever it may be, it needs to be, we're different, included in the price regardless. One thing worked really well over here for a barbershop was, I think they did every 10th haircut, they got a crate of beer for free.
Oh, Christ. Okay. Which
was indirectly, so 24 bottles in a case, and it worked out you're giving 10% away. So, they had a little stamp, and they stamped it across. Once they got to the 10th haircut, they got a crate of beer. Some people do it with 5 haircuts, depending on how much you charge for a haircut. Are you high-end barbers or just a normal barbers?
Just a normal barbers. We charge about £12 for a haircut. So we're actually probably the low end of what we're doing here.
Yeah, I think I paid about... Say again?
They should be packed, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, the strange thing now is that barbershops, in general... So I'll explain, and you can decide where you want your son to go. So there's 2 barbershops at the moment, and that really is, there's cheap, and then there's like trendy.
Well, I think that's what I want to be, in the trendy side.
Yeah. So indirectly, the cheap people are going to be all your old boys. They're going to be all the workers, the tradies. They're probably your bread and butter. And maybe you could still do them on a Monday, Tuesday, if that makes sense. But trendy guys will pay more. Like coffee now. Coffee's going through the roof because people want good coffee. People also want a good haircut. And I think that you have to choose between the two. Now, you can't be cheap and trendy, because you don't get the trendy people. They don't come. They want to go, they don't want to walk through hair. They don't want you to damp the hair down anymore. They actually want the full Monty. And you could charge probably, 15 to 20 pounds for that service. And so you should, but I expect more for it. Maybe a little bit of cream that goes round my neck, maybe finish off with a cut throat, maybe then a little bit of another razor to make sure I'm tidy. Like it has to be, who pays that sort of money? So competition is only really, I think, on this section.
Yeah, cheap.
Yeah, because that's what everyone's trying to do, is they're all trying to get the cheap people in, where really, you want a bit more than that. So it's like you slow it down. You give them, half an hour to do a haircut instead of 20 minutes. You give them that extra bit of love that they give the client, where they can sit there and build a rapport. Otherwise, like I'm barber trained, so I know exactly how barbers work, and I train my son to be a barber. It's just a chop shop, isn't it? Otherwise,
Yeah, yeah,
and I mean, like anybody else, when you've got you've got to cut 4 people in an hour. One of them's probably a dodgy haircut. Because Saturday your queue's out the door and you're trying to get them in and out as fast as you can. Where really on a true barber's shop, you should say booked out, done. Let's make everyone book, because the trendy people, they pre-book. These are all bookers. I book mine 5 weeks in advance. I don't have to sit there, but you lose the other people. So eventually, I don't expect you to draw the line tomorrow, but really that's where you should be going.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. I totally agree. I mean, it's I need to get their mindset right, and I do. I know that I've got to do that, because at the moment they're going, well, I can't juggle a booking system and have people walk through the door. So I said, okay, we'll do it gradually then. So one of you is booking only.
Yeah. There's a system. You might have to try and search for it. I've had it in my phone once before. It's in Canada. And I think it's just an app on the phone. I'm not too sure. Or you can put it into your computer system. So what it is that it's old school playing pool. When we used to go and play pool years ago, you have to write your name on a blackboard, and eventually you've got your name down. So what this appointment system does, it doesn't pre-appoint. They just go on the app and they'll say, oh, there's 4 people in front of me. They just put their mobile number down and their name. Let's say Dave, and their mobile number down. And that means Dave's 5th in the queue. Does that make sense? And then once it gets near to it, then it just messages Dave to go, yeah, you're 1 haircut away. You better come here now. So that's almost the same as a booking, but non-booking. Because it's a great system. And it's in Canada. So I know a few barbershops that use it. And I'm in Australia, and I've seen it here, a very good system. And it just works on an iPad. Very basic app that you can just say to people, if you want to book ahead. I used to find it really awkward in my barber shop, where you've got 5 people sitting there waiting to get their hair done, and a man walks in and jumps the queue.
Yeah, that's what they said. We don't like that. It doesn't seem fair, and it pees people off, Mum. That's what he said to me, my son.
Yeah, I totally agree. I do. The only way to stop that is to turn around as they sit down. They need to either come to the desk and tick themselves off somehow, like even walk-ins, because then you could say to them, have you got a booking? And they'll go, no. You can say, not a problem. We've got 1 booking due in a minute. You're next in the queue. But it has to be said before they sit down, because otherwise, if I've sat down for an hour and someone comes and jumps the queue, I'd be whacked off. But yeah, I totally agree. But saying that, if you are all booking, and walk-ins available, is different, isn't it? So as
I think it might be easier when I got the 3rd person in there, because obviously she can then take some of the overspill, I guess. And it's not busy like that all the time. It's a Saturday that I think they have the problems.
Yeah, and then maybe you need a signed Saturday to say, due to busyness, we prefer you to book.
Yeah.
You'll lose the walk-in people now and again, but they're the ones you don't want long-term anyway.
Yeah, and I want people to book so I know what I've got.
Well, also, I think from the client point of view, I think, like, I went and sat in a barbershop because they didn't have a booking system, and I sat there, there's 5 people in front of me, and I'm thinking, I've got better things to do in my life than this. And just sit there now, like, waiting for my turn. Them days are gone, aren't they?
Well, yeah, I would have thought so, but we're very old school around here, you see.
Well, if that's the case, don't do any bookings, but sometimes if you have no bookings, some people look through the window and go, I'm not going in today, there's 5 people there.
Yeah, no, that is a problem as well.
Yeah,
I just feel like I'm on a no-win situation.
Well, it's one of them things where, the cheaper end don't want to book, the dear ones do. You got to figure out where you're going to be long term, because it is a pain in the bum.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's talk about.
But like you said, make the big ones on Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah, you can say to people quite simply, Monday, Tuesday, no bookings. The rest of the week, we look for you to book, and you could sort of, as they come in. What booking system do you use?
Well, I've got Treatwell, and they have a section on Treatwell, but they just didn't want to do it.
Yeah, maybe you should have an iPad in there when someone comes in, so you can just book yourself in. So every client books themselves in the salon, because then they're going to get used to it, aren't they?
Yeah, True.
You know, start treating the clients and brainwashing them slowly.
Yeah, true.
You know, it might work. I'm not too sure, but we'll see how we go. And bums on seats, is that for your hair or beauty?
Well, a bit of both, really. I suppose hair would be good.
Yeah. So I can't sort of go into way too much detail because what I normally teach on how to attract clients takes about a month to learn. But I can definitely give you as much overflow as I can as what we're on here. So
we're using last week's tips that you gave us on the emailing the people out when they're here for the first time.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So the one thing we know is that any client that comes to you will come in pain, and you need to remember that.
Okay.
So every single client that walks through your door that's brand spanking new, be it hair, beauty, or men, are coming in pain. So that means that they've left their current salon because they couldn't get something fixed.
Yeah.
So if you lose clients, it's because whatever their problem is, yeah. So for example, they don't want to wait too long. You've lost them. Yep. Next one, which is very rarely priced, by the way. Next one, let's say they can't cover the grey. There's an issue.
Yeah.
Next one, blondes are yellow. Next one, you could be, let's say, cut too short. Like they leave because of a reason. No one leaves for no reason at all. If I go to have my hair done by you or beauty from you and you do an absolutely fantastic job, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm going to use the word here just for your son, dirty, because he's leaving hair on the floor. So
yeah.
I would actually leave, and I've left. I'm a good barbers because the floor was dirty. End of. I'm thinking if that's how you treat the floor, like leaving all hair on the floor, how dirty are your combs? That's what I'm thinking already. You know, how dirty are your combs and your gowns?
Yeah.
Because my mind can't stop that. If you went to a restaurant and you found hair into your dinner, just a piece of hair, you'll think everything's filthy in the kitchen. We just do. So the key here is, why do people leave a salon, and why do you think they leave and they choose you?
Well, it could be that like you said, they've left the salon because something can't get fixed, or they're unhappy, and they've probably found us because of recommendations, or they've seen our Treatwell. Yeah. Because all of the reviews are left on Treatwell, and we can't fudge them, sort of thing. They are what they are. I can't get rid of them or anything.
Yeah. So what do you do personally?
What about?
Are you skin?
Well, I do nails. Well, loads of things: nails, massage, facials.
Okay. So if I just use your word for a second. So if you've got a new nail person, a new nail client comes in, it's usually probably because the nails they had before didn't last, snapped off, or too thick, look like talons.
Yeah.
So they look like talons, or they're
Or
thick.
it could be that somebody couldn't get them in. Sometimes, you know.
Well, I think, okay, I'm going to pull myself back a second here. Let's go 3. Okay. All right. You're pushing me a little bit here today. That's all right. Love being pushed. Okay. So there's 3 types of clients that come to your salon. Yep. Yeah. We call these the 30%. We call these the 67%. And we call these the 3%. And that's a fact. This is like around the world. Now, your 3%, they'll move on price or convenience. You know, like you just said, they couldn't get in, so they walk. These will never come because they're your diehards and someone else's diehards. So the 67% we talk about, these are the ones that when they come to you, they've checked you out, they've been on Google, they've looked at Treatwell. So when they come, they will not come just because they couldn't get in somewhere. They come because they're going to call your salon home and they want to be with you for a long time. So that's how we attract people. We aim at this 67%. You'll hear me all the time talk about the 67% of people. So they're the ones that have a problem and their salon can't fix it. So they've gone on a research to find other people. Now, when they're researching, that's where we want to pop up and say to them that we'll look after you. That's what we want to do.
Yeah.
So the question is, what do they want? So for massage, for example, if I've got a bad back and I'm having a massage weekly and it's not working, I'm going to try someone new.
Yes, of course.
If you do a massage and it's irregular, like one week you do my arms and my back and the next week you don't, I'm going to move on. So what we want to do is when we track bums on seats, we make sure that all our posts are talking about the pain that the client's in.
Yes.
So if we know with facials, for example, people want, they want to be youthful, they want smooth, they might even want plump. These are things that they want because they feel like they haven't got them already. So it's a bit like if I saw a post that said, hey guys, when you've had your haircut and you go home and wash it, does the hair not look like it's supposed to? Come to us, we'd guarantee that when you get up in the morning, put some wax on, your hair's going to be perfect for 5 weeks. It's going to get my attention at least.
I've done, you did all the pink sheets on YouTube. I have looked for the pink sheet training on that.
You can't find it?
I've done all my work. No, I've looked at it all. I've tried doing it.
Oh, yeah.
I've tried doing it.
How did you find pink sheets on YouTube?
It's called Victoria Pink Sheets.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be gone in 5 minutes when I finish this phone call.
Sorry.
Thinking, no, it's good. It's good you told me. It's fantastic. So anyone that rewatches this and looks for pink sheets, it's going to be gone. There you go. I obviously didn't hide it properly. Oh, yeah. Well, you've had extra training. You're good. You are. Yeah. So pink sheets are really important when you do them properly. Very important to do that.
And it probably wasn't that I did them great. I dibble dabbled in it and tried it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like pink sheets are okay to build, but when it comes, we have to sort of like, that's why when we coach people, we tweak their posts until we get close to what it is that is. And the 5 things that you need out there to get that, which is quite cool. But the bums on seats is momentum. It's like knowing what you're talking about and talking their way. If you remember pink sheets, that for me, if we have a pink sheet that sort of looks like this, that's what works for most people. The story at the bottom right-hand brain stuff, right down into the context of what the story is about. Telling a story really makes a difference. Very important to how it's built. So by now we are in the end of October. So by now you should be pretty booked up for Christmas. Is that correct?
We're getting there. We've got some full up days. Yeah.
Will you open more days towards Christmas and close more after? We're here sort of like 6 days a week anyway. Yeah. Okay.
So we cover pretty much everything, and the girls are pretty flexible. If I say to them, look, we need to do extra, then they will.
Yeah, cool. So how are you going to get your new barber filled?
I don't know yet.
Because you'll still sit there hanging around for a while until he gets there.
I did think about putting something out on social media saying, I don't know whether to have a half price day for her or a day where she gets free cuts in, or I just don't know.
Yeah, okay, cool. I guess the thing is you don't want to do anything that's going to pull people away from your current business, which is what will happen if you do that. I mean, next week we'll talk about email, but a good thing to do that is either can you send an email or a text with the company you're in with now? The software company?
I can, but the barbers is just literally a walk-in business, so there's no data that's been collected for that at the moment.
Okay, not a problem. You should start collecting it, but you could send it to all your women. Yeah. Yeah. To say, hey, we've got a new person in our barber shop. Send your man in free of charge, and I would do like 2 weeks. If it's never been before, 2 weeks for free. Okay, so I said new men. Yeah, men that don't normally do this, or if your husband, boyfriend, partner has never ever been to us, we have a new girl starting. We're gonna give her 2 weeks worth of free cut and blow dries to try and win your man over, and make sure it's only with Debbie, whatever her name is, So
I did think about doing a paid post as well, and putting something out, that's an advert on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, you could just put a. I just don't know whether a discount would work or free would be better. I know people that do free because people don't get addicted to free. It's short, it's sharp, it's out of the way. Do 50% off. People just come because it's cheap. Free is usually a bit different because you can use it. Hey, we've got a new girl. If you've never tried this before, come and try us. It's on us. Try before you buy.
Mention this advert and you'll get it for nothing, sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I think another thing that might work really well. We call it here a gold coin donation. Do you have that?
No.
So you could be cheeky and do an ad to say, look, if you've never been here before, we just offer, come and have your hair done for free, and you can just donate £1 if you want to. Most people will throw a £5, and that'll probably go in the till. So you might get something for the back end that way, which might work quite well.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'd do that. So, but next week we'll cover how to bring clients in sooner and how to deal with lost clients and get them back in using your database, which is quite good. Anything else you need fixing today, or we covered enough?
No, I mean, I'm seriously thinking that maybe you can help me long term. I think so.
Yeah, well, we have, like I say, at the end of the next week's session, you'll get offered a call if you want to chat with me about your business itself. We have 2 ways that you can come to work with us. Depending on how much you take, as in your takings, makes a big difference to where we put you. So we have a small, we call it the foundation. So that's really quite cheap, quite easy to get into. You still get coaching with me for a year and has all the modules built in. That's the first step, port of call. So anyone that's usually taking less than about £140,000 in the UK, that's where you should go.
Okay.
If you're taking more than 140, then you should join us proper. And we have a whole new, different one. I'll know more when I book a call with you, and hopefully you'll book a call with me, and we'll talk about your business a bit more. If that's probably the best thing to do, because for us, it's like being part of a community and really trying to work out how you can be part of that community to grow, because it's hard on your own. Hey, it's hard. Hence why people in our group, I mean, they have really good growth stats. I mean, we have quite a few in the UK that are 32, 44% growth on last year, but that's because they're working through, each month they're doing a module, and then they get to speak to me on a weekly basis, really, which is quite nice.
Okay.
Beautiful. Let me just unshare for a second. Okay, cool. So it's great speaking to you again. It's probably 20 to 10 where you are.
Yes.
But luckily, as from next week, the clocks all change, which means that I usually do my calls about 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. in the morning, and it makes it a bit more reasonable now. So.
Okay.